Hey cats, what's happening? Welcome to the man cave this morning. It's a rainy, gray day, humid. Had some thunder, lightning, a lot of lightning. I mean, it was really a lot of lightning last night. The rain, though, well received. We needed it. The garden's pretty happy and flourishing. So, what do you do on a rainy day? Story time. Yeah, I got a story. It goes back to my youth. You know, when I grew up, uh, it was in the rural Ohio, or rural northeast Ohio. And my dad was very strict Baptist. You know, we had to go to church every Sunday. And my dad was very strict about, how we had our hair, how we dressed, the whole thing. We had to follow his rule. My dad never took us to a ball game. He never played baseball with us or threw a football. There was zero sports as we grew up as kids. So, we didn't even fit in there. I mean, my dad never taught me how to throw a ball. So I was real awkward in school and sports because I didn't even know how to play a game of baseball. I didn't know how to play football. I had no clue. So in school, we didn't fit in real well. I didn't. In the early 70s, it was hippies and bell bottoms, and I wasn't allowed to have long hair. I had to have my hair. My dad cut my hair the way he wanted it, and cut it when he wanted to cut it. So it was never allowed to get long at all. He would take us shopping for clothes and tell us what we couldn't buy to go to school. We weren't allowed to wear Levi's to school. So, although, I might have had the personality to fit in with some of the others, because of my look, I always felt awkward that I didn't fit in, that I was a nerd. Well, being that, I grew up in rural Ohio, and I had four brothers, no sisters. The neighbors had a couple boys, so no girls. So I didn't know a whole lot about women. I wasn't really taught a whole lot about women from my parents. So in school, I was intimidated. I was real shy and intimidated by the girls. I was afraid to talk to them. I was real nervous around them, and I would my mind would go blank. I didn't know what to say. I would just be like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll see you later. One of those kind of things. Well, anyway, there was this hot girl, or I thought she was pretty hot. And she was in a grade below me, and my buddy was in a grade below me. And my buddy and I were talking one day, and he said, "Oh yeah, I know her. In fact, I sit right next to her in my class, and I talk to her every day." He goes, "You should ask her out." And I said, "Me? What, are you kidding? No, I can't do that. Nah, forget it. I'm not gonna ask her out." He says, "You want me to ask her? I'll ask her if she'll go out with you." I said, "Really? Oh, okay. Well, go ahead. I mean, it can't hurt, right?" I said, "Nah, don't worry about it. I'll ask her." So the next day, I see my buddy, and I said, "Hey, did you ask Lynn if she wanted to go out with me?" And he goes, "Yeah." She said, "No problem. Just let her know, and you know she'll go out with you." I was like, "Wow, it was that easy." So I finally ran into her, and I said, "Hey, my buddy told me that you wanted to go out with me, and I have a couple tickets to a concert. Would you like to go with me?" And she said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." Bing! I was like, "Wow, It was that easy? I'm going on a date with this hot girl. So the day came, and I went and picked her up at her house, and we drove up to Cleveland to the concert. Now, the concert was it was at one of these old halls, like uh, an old theater type setting, but, big enough venue where they could have a concert there. And when you walk into these old theaters, there's like this big lobby you have to walk through to get into where the seats are. And we're walking through there, and I notice right away that she's like, you know, checking out all the boys. And this guy would walk by, and she'd be like, "Oh yeah." And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? I thought this girl was my date, and she's like checking out all these other guys. It was a different experience for me, I mean, I had never had anything like this happen to me before, and I didn't really know how to react. Well, we went to the concert, and we kind of had a good time. It was a good show. And after the concert, I took her back to my house. Now, my mom and dad were gone for the weekend, so we had the whole house to ourselves. My room was an addition that was added to the back porch. So the only access, originally it had been like a storage room or something, and a pretty good size. It took up probably about a third of the back porch. So, I was sharing a bedroom with my brother, and it was very tight, cramped spaces, so I decided, I would move into this room on the back porch. My grandpa helped me fix it all up. We insulated it. We put paneling up in there, and that became my room. And because the only access to it wasn't, you couldn't get to it from inside the house. There was a door out on the porch that went in and out of my room. So it was a real popular place for all the neighborhood guys to come down and hang out. I mean, I had my big booming stereo in there, and I had every record album you could think of, I had the Led Zeppelin, the Pink Floyd, the Joe Walsh, the Who, the Rolling Stones. I mean, you name it, I had the record albums. And so we would just play rock music and hang out there. And sometimes we would party if we had the opportunity. But again, my parents were pretty strict, so they kept a pretty tight leash on me. So I had to be pretty careful. Well, I brought the girl back to the house, and we went into my room. And no sooner got there, and here comes my brother and my buddy. And I'm like, it was late because the concert had ended. We drove home. It was probably like 1 a.m. And here's my brother and my buddy showing up at my room. And I'm like, oh no. I just brought my date home, and Now, what was I expecting to do? I don't know. Maybe get a few kisses or something like that. Like I said, I had no experience with women at all. But I didn't want my buddy and my brother there either. So I'm like, hey. Finally, they get the hint, and they're like, all right, we'll leave you guys alone. And they took off. Well, they had no sooner left. And I had these big candles that we used to buy from Spencer Gifts. It's kind of like a novelty type store. And back in the I don't even know if they still sell them anymore, but we used to buy these big different colored candles. And when you lit them, they burn, and the wax would like drip all down the sides. And it was pretty cool. It was something we did. She gets up and she starts lighting all these candles in my room. Well, there's probably like 4 or 5 candles she lit. Turned off the lights, so it was kind of dark in there, and I was like, oh boy, this is going to be, fun. Well, then she starts doing a striptease. She's dancing, almost like a belly dance, and she's throwing the clothes off. I'm sitting back watching, and I mean, my eyes are popping out of my head because I had zero experience with this. She takes all of her clothes off. She's completely naked now, and I'm like freaking out because I don't know what to do. I'm like, I am scared to death of this girl. She pushes me back on the bed and she climbs on top of me, and of course I'm fully clothed. I got my jeans on and my shirt, and she's pretty much trying to attack me, and I started fighting her off. I thought, wait a minute, she's moving way too fast for this nerd, and I was kind of confused and frightened. I wasn't expecting that at all, so here I am laying on my bed completely dressed, and I got this naked girl on top of me just trying to take my clothes off and everything. And I fought her until she finally gave up and she got herself dressed again. She said, "All right, just take me home." And I said, "I'm sorry." I said, I can't. So I took her home, and we had a nice conversation on the way home. She said, "Don't worry about it. It's all right, and give it some time. You'll be all right." Well, I told her, I said, "Well, I'll pick you up from school the next day," and she said, "All right." So the next day, I pull in there in my '66 Pontiac, and I see her coming out. She's looking good, and she walks up to my car, and I'm thinking, oh man, I'm on cloud nine. I got this hot girl, and that was pretty crazy last night, but she's going to ride with me in my car now, so maybe this is going to work out. She sticks her head in the door like she's getting ready to climb in, and then she flips me the bird and walks away. I was just kind of like, wow, what just happened there? So, I don't know. Found out later, through talking to other guys, after they found out that I took her out, they all wanted to know what happened. And I was kind of reluctant to tell the story because I didn't want to put it out there that I freaked out, that I chickened out. They said she's a real hoochie. They said she pretty much does that with every guy she goes out with. And probably a good thing you didn't. So I felt kind of like in the end, it was kind of a win situation. I didn't know anything about her prior to taking her out. I didn't know anything about her. But I learned a whole lot in a hurry. And, I don't know. I always say that God watches out for me. And in God doing that, He gives me a good head on my shoulders, when to walk and when to run. And I think He had some pretty good morals instilled in me that I was able to not go with this girl, the plan that she had for me, because it would have never worked out good for me, and I would have regretted it the rest of my life. So that was my big story about, being the virgin nerd that got attacked by the hot girl and didn't really know how to handle it. It didn't take me long after that. Once I got out of school, graduated and everything, things started looking up for me. I felt a little more confident with myself. I started being a little more social with people. I was able to be my own self. I was able to have my own personality. I didn't have the control of my dad anymore. So, things were good. Well, thanks for watching the video today. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the videos. We'd love to have you along for this ride. Until next time, cats, We will catch you all later.